What's going on, everybody? My name is Ketchup, and I'm joined on the desk by Jackie. And this is, of course, the ESL Guns of Boom GO4 Finals. Now, we just had Europe, and right now, we're going to be jumping over across the pond to North America. So it's going to be 4 teams, as you all know by now. And there's going to be 2 semi-finals, a third-place playoff, and then finishing things off with the grand finals. But as we're going into our second half of the show, we're going to go through all the introductions again. So first things first, we're here because we're working towards the Season 1 finals. It's $120,000 of a prize pool, and it's played live later this year in Los Angeles. Now, Black Bulls are European champions. They won the European Invitational, so will already be there, guaranteed. It's going to be the first and second place in terms of point earners in Europe, and then a direct invite for that third and final place. Now in North America, this is where things get a little bit more juicy because there is no guaranteed spot just yet. You know, there is no LAN that was won previously. It's going to be first, second, and third in terms of the highest amount of points. They are the only teams that will make it through. And then, of course, there's a direct invite there as well. So there's a couple of ways that you can make it in. The most important ones will be get the points, become the best in your region, and earn it 100%. Now, we have the current standings to see where our teams are currently sitting and kind of giving us a nice gauge of, just look at that. Hyped Up have 850. I don't know where 180 came from. And then we have V with 610, and then Yakuza USA with 560. These are pretty much right now the set in stone top 3. You know, everyone underneath them is like not even close. And then you look at Hyped Up that are just leaps and bounds above everybody else. We are probably going to be seeing these teams regularly throughout the Go4s because they're good enough to win these cups, Jackie.
Yeah. Fotties still at the bottom there.
Where they belong.
But they're still there. That's what it's about. Wait, look, we're going to see the rise of the Fotties. I hope to see the Fots live at LA.
I would like to skip over this conversation as fast as possible. We're going to look at the current Go4 standings to find out which teams we're going to be seeing today. Now, Shock Horror Hyped Up with that #1 spot and then V underneath them. This is pretty much the common theme throughout the Go4s. Hyped Up are the #1 team in North America, and tournament results, they more than prove it. You know, you look at their Season 1 final standings, they have the highest amount of points over any team in the world right now. V are underneath them because, you know, V have always kind of been like the #2. But then Yakuza USA are always just directly behind. We can see LLC with even amounts with 100 points each. And then we have a team called Direct Invite, Amplified, El Chato, and then we have Mexicano. So I feel like it's going into a top 8 bracket. We're going to show you guys the bracket in a few minutes, or in a few moments, actually. It's going to be much before then, I'm pretty sure. We'll find out the matches we're going to have. And as I said before, right, it's 2 semis and then a third place and then a grand finals. Hyped Up being #1 doesn't surprise me. We'll see if the bracket surprises us. And to be honest, we can see a lot of 2-0s, and that's just going to continue. Hyped Up, Yakuza USA, LLC, and V. I mean, if you were to tell me this was a rerun, I'd believe you. Like, the North American results, they're so consistent, and there is 100% a best in region.
The only downside for me is the fact that we're not actually going to see direct invite. I like the fact they've gone for that name, purely because it's like when you ever seen Peep Show?
A long time ago.
Yeah, well, in Peep Show, there's a point where they name the band various artists just to screw people with iPods. Obviously, calling yourself direct invite just to try and get the direct invite spot. It's a good meme. I like it. I rate it.
It was a nice strategy. Unfortunately, it was not enough to secure top 4, Jackie.
Another good name would have been Men with Ven. I would have taken that one as well.
Maybe. Actually, maybe. I don't know the context, but you know, I'm just gonna take your word for it.
We'll do some scrubbing up on your Peep Show knowledge behind the scenes.
We do. The only one I remember is the beans are not pasta sauce bit. That's the main bit I don't. I mean, again, this is a conversation for another time. It's been a long day here in the ESL UK office. But as we can see, the matchups will be Hyped Up versus LLC, which is our first match. A good opportunity for you guys to really see what the best in the business over in North America looks like. Hyped Up are the #1 team, and their results absolutely prove that. But then we can see, again, a more traditional match. Yakuza USA v. These teams have gone head-to-head so many times that it's only fitting that as we go into more Go4s, we can see the exact same matchups. But everything being said and done, LLC versus Hyped Up, that's the matchup that we're going to be seeing next. We're moments away from finding out what the map pool is going to be, so we can see what both the picked and banned maps will be as we go into our first semi-finals. And I think as we've gone into Go4s, we've got such a nice steady flow now. We know what the teams are. It's a matter of them just improving, getting better and better. And as we can see, the selection is as follows: Military Warehouse, Europe Square, and then if it comes to that, it's going to be Europe Street as our final match. Europe Street we just don't see in Europe, but we see it a lot in America.
Yeah, well, you know, they play a lot of North American Street in Europe. It's a common trope. They flip-flop back and forth. Interesting enough, though, with military hair house, military, that would just be a barber's, wouldn't it? Military hair house.
Yeah. Or the rabbits, the hair. It would be like farm. It would be another word for farm.
Yeah, also accurate. But I've noticed, look, there's like a little green tomato-esque growth there, which in-game looks very different because they're like weird little cow heads that have mutated.
That's actually a good shout, you know. It's just one of those things, I guess. Maybe it was
There's a little hidden Easter egg for you.
Easter eggs. I mean, to be fair, there's actually plenty of Easter eggs throughout these maps, and we actually have these new little videos which kind of like map run-throughs as we talk about the matchup. There it is! Ask and you shall receive. Speaking of which, it actually gives us a good opportunity to both kind of see the little bits of the maps that you might miss, like little details. I didn't even know that on the subway station there was a like poster that advertised the Paradise Island, and I'm like, oh, look at that!
Yeah,
nice little touch. I like that.
There's also one of those on Europe Street that we saw as well, over by the bus. It's on the side of the bus. There you go.
They've created a Guns of Boom universe, but hyped up. They are the strongest team in America. It's just amazing communication. Like, obviously, we've never actually heard their communication, but at this level of play, it has to be good. For you to win every single cup, you have to basically do it all right. Now, LLC, they have had a fantastic beginning. That can only last so long sometimes in TDM. We can see Snow, User Stark, and Venom. They are such a dream team in this part of the world. Individual, amazing players. Rarely lose a 1 versus 1. And when they have to play together, they are not shy of doing just that. Wonderful grenade and an even better camera angle. Face first.
Yeah, very beautiful stuff. As the London Lemon Club try and bring it back up. Have a good lead so far. They're working together. Nice use of the nade. Going to blow Venom out of the server. And they're building from this. 146 to 100 on the side of Hyped Up. Hyped Up, normally the more dominant team, definitely a big dog. Huge contender to be essentially the Black Bulls of the North American region, and Venom is starting to rip his way through them. Support of Stark as well, the Avengers are looking good.
Now, even though Knights of Honor, they were able to kind of take the win in Europe this week and pull off both a massive upset and a really impressive comeback, it is still Black Bulls as #1 in EU, right, because of their consistent results. Now, it really is constantly pushing towards that storyline of Hyped Up versus the Black Bulls. But if neither team are able to win this week, then that's just growth. You know, that's showing that the game is progressing, the teams are getting better, and the players are becoming better too.
Yeah, a small lead, 5 points ahead for the Liquid Legendary Champions on the side of LLC. Snow also going to find a kill. Snow White been looking good into this matchup. Nokia, aggressive as ever though, comes through the killing spree. That is a big point lead, keeping them barely ahead of Hyped Up as this game is close. It's starting to peak out though in favor of the top dogs.
It's a little bit escaping so far. Stark gets caught off guard, and that is definitely the wrong part of town. General Aladdin, unfortunately, with the suicide, which is allowing Hyped Up to actually take the lead. And if they can win this first map, they're in a great position. You know, if they would lose the first map, it's one of those wake-up calls. LLC can feel really good. They're riding a lot of momentum. If they don't get that position, Hyped Up, this is going to be another day in the office for them. They've been there, done that, worn the t-shirt. They know what it's like to win.
Well, big flurry of trades back and forth there in the team fight, and Hyped Up, they now have the lead, and this is where it can get quite commanding. This could get ahead of themselves. Nokia going to go for the flank play. No armor though, so it will be a little bit awkward for him. Needs to get off the backstab, misses the initial contact. Punished because of it. Goes down the 1 versus 2. Slain by Stark. Venom with a follow-up frag. General Aladdin's the only one that is stopping them, but it doesn't matter as User has found himself a killing spree. That's now 400 points to the 3-3-2 of LLC.
Now, it's really unfortunate, those kind of like knife misses, because you know, if you miss the knife and do no damage, it's not only that, it's the fact that you make noise and give your position away. So it's pretty much, you know, that there is nothing to accomplish there. You've got to make sure you're landing your shots, even if it is just melee. Now, they're starting to be a little bit of a comeback. They got some frags here and there. The triple kill is going to make a huge difference, and we are definitely reaching the end of this first map. LLC had a wonderful start, Hyped Up, been able to run away with things a little bit. Snow in what I would say is a bad situation, but we did see 1 frag come through, so the trade's going to be good. Hyped Up, they just need 1 more at this stage, and this should be all she wrote. Can they defend? Can they not concede a single kill? It's a hard win, but it's definitely a possible win. Gonna stick it together. They know they have to. Here it is. This is the final moment of TDM that we love. We love how things get this close.
Grenades being cascaded across the board, trying to find this final kill. It's very important. The trade will come through. Nokia has been destroyed. Broken by user, something that would never normally happen in real life.
I'm about to say, normally a Nokia is just unbreakable. The most unbreakable device on the planet. But I feel like right at the end there, I feel like they actually kind of threw it away. I don't think they needed to be as aggressive as they did. I almost feel like with the Porcupine already equipped, Nokia must have just put so much faith in both everyone behind them having Porcupines ready to go, or point blank in general, and just almost hoped that they would just catch them off guard around the corner and just get a kill. But it was Hyped Up that just needed one kill, not LLC. Even if they managed to get one kill and they traded, Hyped Up would have won that game. I think going inside that building was a critical mistake and a really bad judgment call.
Yeah, it was a risk for them. They knew the odds. They're just not very good at maths.
Sometimes that can happen, though.
That's the issue.
You can calculate a risk and understand that it's a huge risk, but if it's not worth it, then don't go for it. Like, I'm not saying that's exactly the reason they lost. Obviously, there are loads of factors at play, that they didn't have the lead before and everything else. But those last-minute, spur-of-the-moment decisions where they have to understand that we have to not concede a single kill and then get... That would have roughly been about 3 kills for 50 points. Yeah, maybe even 4, to be honest, with how things were going. With that stuff in mind, going into a point-blank area where even a trade is massively likely, I just don't think those kind of decisions are worth it. And when you have to win the first map, otherwise Hyped Up are... for you, winning a map is, oh my god, we just took a map off Hyped Up. We are now in a great position to win. Hyped Up win a map, and it's like, yeah, we won another map. Like, it's so normal for them to win that you can't let them get that first win. Because, not to say they'll stop taking you seriously, but they can just continue that spree of feeling good, not having to worry, playing nice and loose, playing not carefree, but, not, I think, psyching themselves out.
That's true. It's hard to get through. It's a level of confidence that sometimes these teams just can't keep up. They lose a first map, or if they take an advantage, it's very much a commanding force either way. And that's what we're going to see here. I feel like going into this second game, at this point, it's already too far gone, right? It's where you've given Hyped Up the opportunity. They're going to slam down. As soon as you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. They'll run away with it. And they're not going to want to elongate these games any longer, right? They want a spot in the finals. It's consistent. They're always there. It's a rare sight if we never see them. And look, there's that little advertisement, mate.
It is.
For Paradise Island.
It is, and I also didn't realize there was a grenade on top of that pillar.
The big, you didn't notice the big grenade?
I did not notice the big grenade. How about that? I'm actually, these map run-throughs are exposing how little I know about the visuals of some of these maps.
Yeah,
we play on these maps all the time, and you never, because you're so focused on the match, you never stop and realize just how some of them look really good. Like, there's some nice little touches there. But either way, Europe Square, unfortunately for LLC, has begun incredibly strong for Hyped Up, and we have seen what a wonderful start can do. We saw the Atrium earlier on, a 2.5-minute match that Knights of Honor just body bagged.
Point A is under attack.
The aggression coming through. Venom is going to be able to get that backstab. Look, though, already Hyped Up 308 points to the 120 of LLC. And the dominance is coming through. Venom, a killing spree, still adding to that as well as he carries on, shuts down General Aladdin. Dominance is coming through, right?
And I think dominance is the word of the day. Look at how much points they've been able to win already. We've only just gone into a minute, and we're almost halfway through. That 1,200 limited control points, maximum amount of points required, because it's a longer map. There's more things that can give you points. So of course, if this was TDM, it would be over by now. That's why there is extra stuff to win in these longer modes. But that said, Hyped Up, it's consistency they've always been able to do. Venom unfortunately bites off a little bit more than he can chew, but I don't think he worried too much, because as long as they can just keep these guys busy, it takes them ages to actually take the point. He's been captured as well. We can see the 2-man attack. Stark and User combined. Something that resembles a bit of a team play here. Venom wins the 1v1, which allows them to collect this point as well. LLC making a little bit of a comeback, but they're still significantly behind. This is the difficult thing against the likes of Hyped Up, who are so on point as a team. It's not just a matter of, hey, yeah, let's just make the comeback, because they know how to defeat a team that's trying to recover.
Yeah, they can just soar ahead so easily here. They're getting those caps on lockdown, just storming through. That is going to be another recap over towards point B as well. So the fight comes out. General Aladdin going to charge in. They do actually find a fair bit of success. The nades go in their favor. They get a rapid amount of kills, but it's still that point lead. That's the difference maker. They're only barely reaching 600, where Hyped Up are now at 900. It's too hard to try and beat that.
It's one nice predictive grenade, which is going to be something, but it's not going to be enough. The double kill from Stark extra points. Yes, the points are the most important way to get score in this game mode, but wonderful little add-ons to kills. They're still going to do their fair share of work as well, as Nox takes out the 1v1, Venom drops. But again, I'm just worried that it's not going to matter too much because they're getting these 1-for-1 trades, but they're not able to recover a huge amount of points. They can take a point and then they swiftly lose it. Hyped up, they have less than 200 score left to go, and they're going to walk very easily into grand finals for another week. To the surprise of no one, I have to say, they are the strongest team in North America, and they just win non-stop. I feel like we're at this point again where, in typical control point fashion, they have the points. And this natural lead is going to trickle down. 50 points left to go. This match is over, Jackie, and we're going to see Hyped Up in the grand finals.
Yeah, it's done. They kept it close. LLC able to push it for as long as possible, but the natural progression will always go in favor of Hyped Up at that point. That is a smooth 2-0 to kick things off here in the North American games for the day in the GO4 Cup, as Hyped Up will win it very, very easily there. Clinical stuff coming out from the NA side.
It feels to me like Team Deathmatch is kind of like the game mode where if you are not the better team in terms of like general objectives, you can still kind of look pretty good in TDM and just, you know, frag a little bit better. You can have, you know, if you just have that one game that just goes amazingly well for you, you can build loads of points up for your team and maybe kind of snatch a win here and there in a best of 3. I feel like that gives you great odds. But the second we went into the team mode, the best teams in the game excel at mostly control point, to be honest. King of the Hill was almost like an extension of Team Deathmatch, but control point really is where the kills are not as important, and the better team will basically always win. Hyped Up, they have such a high record of winning in control points. It's just no surprise to see them take the win there as well.
Yeah, Hyped Up just doing what they do best, really. They are the most dominant force in NA for we've seen, really. That's fair to say.
They win every single cup.
Yeah.
They've won every cup.
And that's backed up by the fact that in terms of the point standings where there hasn't been reset, they're way up there. Like, the chances of them not going to LA at this point, I think, are pretty much mathematically impossible.
I'll shave my head bald if they don't make it.
There you go, mate. Well, it's going to be quite warm over there.
Yeah, actually, California is very hot. It wouldn't be a bad call. But to do it, they would need to not make it through. So I'm still banking on them making it through, as expected. But, I mean, there really isn't much to say about that. Whenever we watch Hyped Up play, especially in the semifinals, it's 2-0 to get into the semifinals. In the semifinals, it's almost always 2-0 again. Whenever things almost get a little bit closer, it only ever really tends to be the grand finals where it's the 2 best teams of the day. And it's like, this is the only circumstance you can actually bring it to these guys. But to be honest with you, we're going to see if the tradition will continue or if one of our teams can bring it to the current best in North America. That's our first semi-final good to go. We have B versus Yakuza USA up next. And while we prepare things, we're going to go for a quick break. Don't go anywhere because we'll be back in a few minutes. everybody, and welcome back. This is the ESL Guns of Boom GO4 final for North America, and shock horror, I don't know if you guys will ever believe this, but Hyped Up are currently sitting pretty in our grand finals. It seems like every time we do one of these finals, they're always in the grand finals and always winning it. It's just a level of dominance that I think we just don't actually see in any other cup. Hyped Up, whenever we see them on stream, they are winning, which is insane. But it's for the cash. That's the one thing to factor in, is they have the highest amount of qualification points, but now in the cups that normally we just say, hey, it's just for cash, they're both #1 in the standings and are winning all the money. So I think these guys are in a really, really good position. But that's what happens when you have these free-to-enter online cups, right? Hyped Up, they're a team of players. They felt like they were good enough. They took it to the online stage, ended the tournaments, and lo and behold, we see them every 2 weeks, both winning, putting a name for themselves out there, which is really important, and also making a nice little chunk of change. But that was just one semi-finals. Our next one is going to be V versus Yakuza USA, and in record time, we have our map selection ready to go.
Ooh. Let's check it out. Oh, Wild West Saloon, Skyscrapers, a military warehouse. Wild West Saloon finally going to get played for the first time today. Normally when we see, I'd say pretty consistently throughout most of the games, but saving it for a little while into the same today.
Yeah, it's normally banned quite regularly. That's the thing about today, which is, I think Europe and North America do have a slightly different map pool from what I've been able to kind of tell from when we started the GO4s to now. The banned maps, Europe Street, Europe Square, Farming Complex, and then Yakuza USA banning out Paradise Island, Subway Station, and Atrium. So it's pretty much, a nice sort of traditional old school GO4 selection of maps here, because we have the military warehouse and Wild West, Skyscrapers as the decider, and it's kind of like what I said earlier. I just feel like Skyscrapers is like the deciding map. It always tends to be. Whenever teams play in like the pivotal situation, I don't know what it is about Skyscrapers, but we always find ourselves there. Map #1 being Wild West, a perfect time to have a look at it. And I believe we have the players in the lobby almost ready to go. So we're moments away from finding out. V versus Yakuza USA can be kind of hard to call. I always, when I was looking, if you would kind of almost have like a positional list, you'd almost have like Hyped Up as #1.
Yeah.
And then you would have kind of V just underneath them. That's what kind of consistent results would normally teach us. But Yakuza USA, they're right there too. Yakuza are really strong as well. And they're definitely, I would say, are the top 3 of North America.
Oh, yeah, the entire scene's so close, though. That's kind of the main selling point, right, of the NA scene, is that it seems like Hyped Up was like a little bit of an echelon above, and then the rest of the scene was all pretty close together in like a second or fourth place. All those teams were beating each other pretty consistently, so it provides a lot of potential interesting stuff when we get underway with this one. But Wild West Saloon going to be the opening up map for this series. It's always a pretty explosive affair. You can get quite a rapid point lead. You see a lot of that angle in play there by the Broken Fountain. That is a big point.
Now, this is the pivotal moment in Wild West. Who can hold the first bit of control over the center of the map? There are some really key sniper locations that can be a real thorn in their side. I feel like Corrupt is trying to get something done, but unfortunately is shut down by Thanos. And now, center of the map. Now, Jen, she's picking that location because this is one of the most irritating parts to go in. You're a little bit exposed if the enemy's on the far left, which is where J-Master's currently sitting. Wonderful catch there from Jen, acknowledging that he's way out in the open. But that said, just look at the angles she can hit, and half of her body is completely blocked. Drops to Thanos. Nice, even game so far. They're trading it 1 for 1 each time.
Trade comes back through. Gentrix with 1 frag. Not a team player going to pick up the follow-up on Goku. And they are pushing for that side control. V, ever so slightly ahead in terms of the point lead, but Yakuza do not want to allow them to barrel out of control with this. They are actively trying to keep them off the point. But V grab it once again. They're still just slowly building. The backstab comes in from not a team player as well. It's only J-Master actually being able to find a kill, and that's just 1 frag. And instant stab back from Gentrix. V just looking way too good right now.
What was a close game is very quickly becoming not so much. We also saw a killing spree, which is really important in King of the Hill, especially when you factor in how much. And that was a really nice kind of like anti-air shotgun blast with the pineapple. But like I was saying, if you can consistently hold the center of the map and then rack up the kills, it turns King of the Hill into basically the fastest maps you can have. One-sided wins become even more so when you have this extra dynamic of naturally ticking points. Yakuza USA, there's signs of life, but I feel like the trickling of the win is continuing in V's favor.
Yeah, it's just constantly going towards them getting the advantage here. The majority of frags going to be picked up by him. Goku gets another kill. Thanos will take down Gentrix, and now they're actually pretty close. 500 to 665. It's not too bad. They can recover this, especially when they will now capture. The trade kill comes out, but they're into a position now where if they build up enough points, this could still go back in their favor. 2 minutes 20 on the clock. It's close.
It's one of those moments where if they're going to make a comeback, they have to make one right now, because we are shortly approaching the point where you can't make a comeback. You know, if they maintain consistency and trade it back and forth, they're going to reach a moment where it doesn't really matter if they start losing all their frags, as long as they're getting a 1-for-1. And now we are dangerously close to that point. The second we kind of tick 800, which we now have done, this is where things get worrying. Genji managed to secure a kill with Thanatos. Sorry, Barracuda, sorry, gets one of those knife kills. And what was a comebackable point score is now not so much.
Yep, if they had a chance, it's now swiftly gone out the window as the damage has just come through far too rapidly. Everyone just playing flawlessly right now. They find the kills, a nice little connection from the knife into the porcupine shot, and that is a victory for V. They get the first win on Wild West Saloon. Looking good.
You can say that again, Jackie. Now, it was close to begin with, but I think that the closeness of that map only really lasted for a couple of minutes, and then very, very quickly it started to become not so much. And before you know it, a dominant win comes through, and V just look as dominant as we know they can be. Now, going into our next set of maps, there's scope for change here. You know, the second we kind of change up the game mode, it becomes a bit more unpredictable. Some teams are definitely more dangerous on TDM. Others are more dangerous in, you know, not even on certain modes, but certain maps. You know, there are some teams that are really strong on skyscrapers or Wild West or Europe streets. Speaking of which, I really hope we can see some Europe streets today. I feel like it's such a fun to watch map, but it's been banned so regularly today.
It's true, it's quite a hectic map, and there's been a lot of it that has been cut out recently. We haven't seen it too much. It's actually quite fun how we're seeing now what players want to play more with the map veto. They're getting to grips with it, right? It's the second time we're actually seeing it fully in swing since the EU Invitational allowed them to actually see how it goes down. And I think players do prefer it because it does give you that competitive edge, and we're actually seeing that system come into effect with newer, more varied map pools for a lot of these teams. We're starting to find out which teams excel in which environments, and it's good to see.
It builds a lot of storylines as well. You know, as both from a spectator standpoint and a player standpoint, you can start to get that knowledge of, it means you now actually kind of have to practice every map. One of the things when we had the set rotation before, you know, there's going to be pros and cons, right? There's things that are good and things that are bad. And with the set rotation, you only really needed to practice those maps. And now you have such a bigger pool to choose from. You can both be tactical with how you choose the maps that you want to play, both a map that you think you're strong on and a map that you just want to take away from the other team because they're too good on that map. On the flip side, in scrims, in practices, in any group game you play, even if it's matchmaking, you can start to play the board a little bit more. You can start having a little bit more fun with the game where, you know, more of the game has now become unlocked to you as a team. But I think it is actually, in fact, TDM that we're going to be seeing up next as we go into map number 2. And, you know, we're in the semi-finals, so we're still in our kind of best of 3 territory. It's always interesting to me, the difference that best of 3 and best of 5 makes too. Where winning dominantly in a first 2 is significantly easier, I think, than a first 3 setting. And, you know, kind of remind those that just missed the action in Europe where we saw Knights of Honor defeat the Black Bulls in grand finals in a reverse 3-0. They dominantly lost the first 2 maps, and they just pulled it back at the end of the day, and it was a comeback that you just don't really get to see in the game. But with Military Warehouse, is this going to be the comeback that Yakuza USA desperately need at this point?
It says keycard required, but there's no slot for a keycard there. How do you reckon you use that keypad?
I think you probably like scan it. You know, like
tap it on there.
Yeah, like a
contactless
scanner, like a contactless credit card. I reckon,
like an Oyster card.
Buzz it. It's the age of the future, Jackie. That's what we're all doing.
It's contactless these days.
Everything is contactless and wireless, and having different cables. No longer the micro USB age with the USB-C age.
It's all changed. It's all new. But we are into the action here on Military Warehouse. 37 of 37 as it is kicking off. Goku trying to defend this right-hand side angle, constantly bobbing and weaving. The nades are being chucked out. And it seems like they should actually start to get the lead here, but Corrupt annihilates Optimus. The follow-up frag comes through as well for Gen for the win. And they're starting to look good, but Yakuza, a big response from Thanos.
The killing spree is always such a popular way to kickstart your team. I mean, just look at the points. You know, 15, 22, 27, and 22 for V. And then here's Thanos with 75. Like, what's up?
Optimus does have -13, looking like the ratings of the Optimus, the Transformers movies, the Michael Bay ones.
I already knew where you were going before you even made that joke.
He fumbled it, but you knew what I was going for.
No, I respect the brain was there, just not quite the execution.
Just the words had failed me.
The execution was just not quite right. -8 now, so he's climbing back a little bit.
Yeah, we're getting to like the second movie now.
And now once we hit 0, we'll be in the money.
That'll be Dark Side of the Moon.
I've actually never seen any of them ever.
They're alright, they're just not great.
Thanks for the review, Jackie.
There you go, you can slap that one in the fridge.
As we can see, V, in very typical fashion, they've been able to sort of pull this one back, and it's coming down to the fact that the Yakuza, they've been out of position quite regularly, allowing themselves to be snuck up on, and not only snuck up on by one person, by two people. You know, these constant 2v1s that you just can't survive. Jen catches Thanos, Corrupt as well to finish the job, and there's Corrupt with the killing spree. She set him up, he knocked him down, but Megami gets the combo breaker. A little bit of extra points, but it might not be enough. Gets a grenade kill as well. Okay, here we go, I see you. Jen gets another one. Very close to a killing spree of her own, I believe.
Ooh, Thanos. Looking like Marty McFly. Let's see if he can go big. Nope, he's dead.
Just like that. No spectator. Yeah, no spectator required. Just blink. This character is dead. But speaking of which, you can see how quickly these frags are starting to line up. Now V, again, just like the first map, they were losing, and in a small amount of time, they've been able to bring things back a little bit, and it's enough to mount a lead that's hard to climb back from, I definitely think. Gentrix with no armor has to watch out. For that reason, deleted. Not in a good position. I think trying to use the cover of the inside building didn't factor them just sprinting in there. Optimus gets the surprise kill. Taken out though, 2 kills in a row. Jen, she's going to drop eventually. Not a team player, gets one as well. And it's just so consistently trading. But Optimus's triple kill is bringing Yakuza back in the fight for another time. One hit away from death though. J-Master and Optimus. Gentrix just needed to look in their general direction for that double.
Yeah. Shattered them both so easily. Making everyone look feeble right now. 422 to 300 in terms of the points. V definitely looking like the better squad, and they are building off it. Jen finds a follow-up frag, takes down J-Master. Gentrix comes through, dropping like a ton of bricks on top of Optimus. But the response from Goku is pretty effective. That might save them for a brief period of time, but not for the overall round, as it seems like it's way too far gone. They need 60 points to close it out.
It's that danger territory where it's we have to both not give up any kills and get more kills than we're currently getting. It's just when things aren't going in your favor, you can't just snap your fingers and change how things are going. So, unfortunately, you wonder if we're at that point again. We've seen comebacks that are actually more extreme than this happen. So, by all means, do not count these teams out. But also, they don't have the clock on their side. 45 seconds and this map is over.
Yeah, time is of the essence. They need to react right now if they want to pick this one up, and it is going to be hard. The trades will start to come in as well. J-Master's low. None of these players have armor. Look at the difference. Everyone on the side of Yakuza is armorless. They're struggling. The push comes round. That will be the point lead taken by Corrupt, and V for victory. They lock it down with a 2-0. Both of our semis are going to be 2-0s here on the North American side of things.
I feel like North America is a bit more predictable in its results. And that's not to discredit the North American League by any means. I just think there is a clear-cut, especially when it comes to the GO4 finals, these are just the 2 strongest teams, and it's V and Hyped Up. No, the second it's V versus Hyped Up in the final, we've seen this so many times, and the only reason we have seen it so many times is because they're just they're just the 2 best teams right now, and you can't take that away from them.
As gamers go, these are some mobile gamers, and they're mean.
Yes.
So there you go. That's a statement about those 2 teams.
That is just the highest level of analysis I think I've ever feasted my ears upon.
That's what you need, mate.
They're mobile gamers, and they're mean.
And they're mean.
And they're in grand finals again.
To be fair, being a mean mobile gamer, wouldn't that mean like you're playing on the subway and someone brushes against you and you're just screaming at them?
Can you imagine someone, because the thing about mobile gaming tournaments, which always intrigues me coming from like a console background, is this idea that as long as you've got a good enough internet connection, you can compete in a tournament anywhere.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, you can compete in a tournament while you're in the restroom. And you're winning a tournament.
I'm playing Guns of Boom right now.
I could play Guns of Boom right now with my phone, like as we speak.
I'm already knees deep into a game, mate.
We could be in a tournament commentating as we were playing these tournament games.
Yeah.
We could do that theoretically, because the internet in this building is very good.
There you go.
But that's the new age. The future is now, old man.
Yes, exactly. Guns of Boom.
Anyway, we have our third place playoff ready to go. Because again, for those that just joined us or are new to the GO4 finals, our single elimination bracket means that obviously when you lose, you are eliminated from winning. However, our top 3 teams get paid. And with our top 4 making it through, we have to find out which of our teams is going to get some money today and which team is just going to be, you know, shake your hand, thanks for playing, and we'll see you in our next tournament. So while we set up our third place playoff, we're going to go for a quick break. Don't go anywhere because we'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody, to the ESL Guns of Boom GO4 final for this month. And we have our North American bracket well underway. It's down to our third place playoff right now to find out which of our 2 teams here between third and fourth actually get some cash for their time and which team is going to be a GG, thanks for playing, see you next time. My name is Ketchup and I'm joined by Jackie as always on the desk. And I feel like of our teams today, Hyped Up and V in the grand finals is the expected result. I feel like Yakuza USA taking third is another expected result. The question is history going to repeat itself for the billionth time?
It's very true. That third place decider is a bit more of an interesting one because there is always a bit of a chance, right, for an upset. But Yakuza USA are one of the more favoured teams. They struggled, though. That's fair to say because V are a very, very effective side. They've proved that in the past. They just came in today, and on the day, they showed up massively. That seems to be the case about North America. There's either going to be one dominant force and a team that will fall. That's pretty much it. There's never really that much of a struggle or a comeback. We see a lot of comebacks and very tight games in the European scene.
I believe we have the bracket. Actually show you guys that have just joined us what the journey has been, or for those that have been the whole time, just a nice little refresher. Hyped Up in V sitting in the grand finals to find out which team is going to take home the chunk of change that is first place, and which is going to get second, which is a respectable result anyway. And then our third place playoff, which we are just about to see, LLC versus Yakuza USA. From what we saw earlier, I think I favour Yakuza USA more. Again, this is going to be a 3 out of 5 situation now, not best of 3. So it's going to be first to win 3 maps in this final set of rotations. And we have our pick and ban ready to go. So we'll find out what maps we're going to be playing on. But look at the bracket. So many 2-0s. Everyone that has lost so far has lost dominantly.
There's actually only 2 2-0s. There's 2 0-2s.
That's true. I eat my words.
Goofed you there, mate.
2-0, 2-0. There's 3 2-0s and 3 0-2s.
There you go.
Yeah, there is actually. There's the even split.
Yeah, the classic. It's neck and neck in terms of the 0-2 2-0s.
Now, I feel like I'd say that's going to change now, but there's a possibility of a 3-0, which is separate, entirely different. So it's going to be a 50.
Sounds like a fun.
It's just going to be a 50-50 split completely. And as we go into our next map, I actually do think we have our rotation almost ready to go. So once we have that, obviously, we'll find out.
There he is.
Skyscrapers first, Farming Complex, Europe Square, Atrium, and then Europe Street. I feel like we're being teased so far. The Europe Street has not been banned that regularly, but it's quite consistently been the final map.
Yeah,
and we've
there.
not reached that point yet. So again, seeing as Europe Street is our final map here for 3rd place, I'm not convinced we're going to reach it. I think we're cursed because we want to see Europe Street, and by wanting to see Europe Street, we're never going to see Europe Street, so I don't think it's going to go down to a map 5. I don't know what your prediction is.
I think you're probably right. I feel like this is most likely going to be a 3-0. LLC had a bit of a good showing. Obviously, showed there was definitely something going on for them. But Yakuza USA, it's a known precedent. We know what they can do. We know what they can achieve. I think they're going to come in here and lock this down. In terms of the maps for the first 3 being Skyscrapers, Farming Complex, and Europe Square, to be honest, I think it's probably in favor of Yakuza really overall. LLC, it's a little bit of a newer face. We don't know where they really excel, but that's pretty standard, right? Farming Complex, Skyscrapers, and Europe Square, nothing out of the ordinary. No real cheese picks.
For sure. The only one thing I think that is different is that we're actually starting on Skyscrapers, which is actually something we almost never see. Skyscrapers is always like, you know, either the final map or it's like, you know, part of that journey. And starting things off with it is one of those slightly newer things. So we're excited to see that. Farming Complex is totally winnable. Europe Square, nothing out of the ordinary. And again, actually, the only thing that's going to be slightly different is Atrium. And Atrium has been some rapid games. We saw on Atrium earlier today, you know, the grand finals of Europe where Knights of Honor basically won Atrium in 2.5 minutes. Just around that exact time. It was one of the fastest maps I think we've ever seen. And you don't normally see fast maps like that on control points. So, you know, giving us a nice little spice in there, something a little bit out of the ordinary. But that said, Skyscrapers starting things off in TDM, I actually favor Yakuza quite highly. I think they tend to do quite well in this game mode. LLC, haven't seen as much of them. So, you know, by all means, they could kind of be the underdog and come up here. We saw that actually from Overtake. Which is the exact same thing, where a team we just hadn't really seen, and then instantly they turn up on the day and get 3rd place and defeat Forza Esports.
That's true. Maybe that's what we're going to see again here. Obviously, the North American counterparts of that, LLC basically being Overtake in this situation. There's a chance, I'd just say, really, Yakuza shouldn't lose this. It would be a bit of an anomaly if they do go down here, but either way, that is a good precedent to set for these upcoming teams. If both of them actually take a 3rd place today with the European game going down that way, if the North American one goes that way as well, that shows maybe there is a little bit of a newer generation now breaching in and being actively interested in playing these cups and giving us more fierce competition the longer the Guns of Boom goes on.
Yeah, and the longer the Guns of Boom goes on, we have a higher chance for new teams to come about and prove their worth and test their mettle. The thing is that because some of these American teams have so many points, it's going to be kind of hard to dethrone, you know, the top dogs at this point. But turning up to tournaments now and actually taking some of these heads and taking some of these teams is always going to be something that you're completely within your right to do. You know, if you can start to show that you're good enough to take these tournaments by storm and turn up with your squad, you can do so. Follow our link down there at esl.im/boom sign up. You can do this for both Europe and North America. If you essentially watch these teams and you go, you know what, I think I can be better than that. I think I can watch these teams. I'm not impressed. I think our guys are better. You actually have, there's nothing stopping you from turning up in these cups and doing it. You know, we can maybe in 2 weeks, we're going to see a brand new team and we're going to say, where'd these guys come from? And it's going to be, oh, we watched them and thought they were no good, so here we are. Yeah,
and that's what we need to see. Just more of that, obviously. Everyone getting involved, coming in and joining the scene. And it provides for a lot more interesting games as it goes on. Adding a little bit more spice to the meta. I mean, it's been pretty standard in terms of what we see recently, so any interesting quantities that can get thrown in will always be welcomed. Like we saw the, what was it, the gun that got whipped out, the Type 99 that we had never seen.
Sure, it was Matador.
Yeah,
sure
it was the Matador that we had never seen. And all of a sudden, like 3 people started using it in one game for a goof.
And actually, it turns out I think it was actually Skyscrapers that was pretty good because you have a lot of like long corridors where consistently teammates are actually kind of behind themselves and in front and stuff like that. So if they're lined up and you've got a weapon that pierces targets, then by all means go for it. You know, that's the one thing about Guns of Boom that we almost never talk about in commentary anymore, because it's such a huge part of the game that is, you know, it's the norm, is the guns that everyone uses. You know, whenever you play the game, you'll realize there's plenty of weapons to use and there's plenty of selection. The thing is, there's just, in competitive play, there is, you definitely call it like a tier list of weapons. There's weapons that everyone thinks are the best or the strongest or the universally best for certain game modes. You know, if it's team deathmatch, you're almost never going to see someone run around with that lightweight sniper rifle that makes you run faster. It's almost entirely going to be either Thanatos or Barracuda, damage all the way. But then when we go on to control points or King of the Hill, and the objective is to get a little bit of extra speed, we sometimes see weapons switched to give you movement speed. Now, as we go into the skyscrapers, team deathmatch, starting things off in this best of 5. I'm going to make the bold play, and I think that it's going to be Yakuza USA taking the win. I don't know about you guys, by all means, give us your predictions in chat. If you think it's going to be LLC, give us a 2, and if you think it's going to be Yakuza, I want to see the 1s.
Well, the forecast is clear skies, but let's see if there is going to be nades soaring through the air. Early damage done. Thanos will come out big, gets the opening kill. Raph the Ripper. I said Raph the Rapper for a second. I was going to say, what gamer?
That would have been a great name.
I know, the Rapper himself.
Here.
Is that Deagle?
Yes. Swapping to the pistol is very, very situational, but when needs must, you can get it. And I actually do believe you get a little bit of bonus points for a pistol kill.
As if he's whipping out the Deagle. I didn't realize that was even a thing.
Oh, that's right up your alley.
Yeah, I know, man. Rolling back the years. Source days with the Deag.
Now, Wrath in unfortunately a bit of a tricky situation. Getting his position away to Gap was able to easily clean that up, but this is the team deathmatch that we're familiar with. The close, steady game. It's probably going to be even the entire time. If both these teams are as evenly matched as we think they might be, by all means, this could be a back and forth, but Yakuza, they're starting to steal it a little bit with some of those cheeky long-range sniper shots, and even Magat with very little health and no armor, very vulnerable here. And just trying to run away. Not enough. Just didn't look like he knew where he wanted to go there.
Well, the kills start to come back in. Nox with a double, takes down Optimus. It's 156 to 152, very close. We know they are quite back and forth in the early segments of deathmatch like this, especially on this map. It just leans in favor of it. Oh, the stab nearly comes through, but Raph the Ripper barely stays alive. He's able to keep himself afloat. 20 points between these two sides right now.
Now that's the danger, pushing too far forward and just getting chewed alive by the respawn protection. That's why you don't want to sit too far into the enemy base, because you're basically just asking to get fragged. You know they have invincibility, there's no way you can hurt them. They're just going to take you out for free.
Shots coming out. Goku takes down Nokia. Going to shatter the screen on that one, try and keep on pushing. But it's so neck and neck. Incredibly close right now. They're keeping each other on their toes. The flank could be huge from Thanos, but Marty McFly, unfortunately, is out of time.
I love the fact that they just turn around immediately. We talked about how pivotal that could have been if he snuck up, and almost in complete unison, they just turned around and went, nah, none of that. But that's going to be an easy double. Both players way too weak to withstand the Porcupine, and including the damage over time as well. The Porcupine is the gift that keeps on giving. I really do think this is the best gun in the game. Range. Oh, wow. Wrath from the distance just going, nah. One-shot kill. Easy money.
We don't actually see this angle in play too much either. The elevated angle up top. For someone to actually hold up there for more than a couple of seconds, it's quite rare.
It's situational, I think. It definitely depends on where you know the other team are, but it's a dangerous position, and things are back and forth. They're nice and even. Now, the meta of team deathmatches, even up until the last minute, where every single kill matters. So we're seeing the back and forth go on right now, but I think that's going to swiftly change in about 25 seconds, where it's going to come down to either the final minute or the final 100 points. We're kind of close approaching both of them.
Oh, Thanos with the kill back on General Aladdin, as it is now close. 413 to 385. Getting very, very near that 500 point mark that will shut down the game as they swarm their way around. Optimus trapped between 3 men in front of him. Goes for the fight, will get one. Is taken down. Nox with a watermelon cat hat will be able to just run out of there on fire. They're still alive and kicking. 50 points will decide if Yakuza win this.
Now, it's definitely close, and it's kind of what we talked about, the pivotal moment. We see a very crucial point-blank shotgun blast, which gives Nox a wonderful burst of points. Nokia with the grenade as well. Extra bonus on top of that. And now this is the moment where Yakuza, they have to stick together. Don't give up damage. Don't give up those sniper angles. They can still win, but they can't give up a single kill now.
Oh, they have to peek together, trying to use that sniper rifle. J-Master is so low. If they peek him, they might actually be able to win this here. It's literally the matter of who gets the next frag and who goes down. The trades are going to be rapidly important. Goku builds off it, slays Nokia. Goku trying to win the game all on his own. He got the double kill. It was 498 to 500 in the end there as the final kill came back in, and LLC will win it.
Now, we weren't able to observe that at the same time because there was so much going on, but it kind of looked like maybe Megat was a little bit too eager to go for the big play. He got 2 kills, and I felt like he just wanted more.
I think he got the double, thinking, right, if I get this second follow-up frag, we're going to win. Just misjudge the point slightly, so he overcommitted, right? At that point, you get the trade back. It's done. It literally was 1 frag. That's all they needed, so it's a shame he was able to do so much, but yeah, in the end, it doesn't even matter.
He tried so hard and got so far. It was a good idea, to be fair, and you know, if the goal was to get the double, he did succeed in that.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, if he just slightly miscalculated how many points he would actually get as a reward there, who knows? I was actually really worried for J-Master because we were observing him at the time, and he was going for a couple of peaks that were like, oh god, he gets clipped 1 time and he's actually going to lose.
He was risking it for a biscuit.
He did.
He did not get himself a bourbon.
He did not. He didn't at all. But he tried, and that's the important thing. Sometimes it's not about getting it, it's about how hard you try. But unfortunately, in the competitive setting, it's all about getting it. Now we're going into our second map. And that was an interesting one for me, personally. Like, it's hard to call, because I generally thought that maybe Yakuza would kind of just have this trump card.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they would just kind of be the stronger team and comfortably gradually win and just continue the lead. Because they had a lead for a long time, too. It was not only that, but it was a good comeback that we saw from LLC at the same time. So, impressive way to start. Makes it hard to predict. It's actually kind of blown my prediction out the window, because I generally thought it would have been a 3-0. So, that's already not what I thought it would be. And we're loading into our next map in record time. We'll be in it in a few minutes. And to be honest, how do we think this is going to go now? It's going to be 1 map down already. Yakuza not looking so hot.
Yeah, struggling. Losing that map. Skyscrapers, maybe a bit of an upset card coming in early. It does lean to those late round, last sort of 30 seconds being very high octane for some reason. It always plays into that. Normally we see it more with Europe, but NA showing that it is a common trend in this scene as well. So, the rest of the Vita that we have to go, it's going to be interesting. What are we thinking about the rest of the game modes, really?
It just depends. You know, the second we kind of go on the more traditional, you know, the one thing I think that was different was Atrium. I believe Atrium's in the rotation. My memory is actually exceptionally bad today, so apologies in advance. But I think as we go in, the first thing we saw there was TDM, which was a little bit weird, a little bit back and forth. I think we're going to get a much more accurate representation of how these teams fare off against each other once we go into those objective modes. The second we go into a control point, I'm actually really excited to see how control point goes against these both teams, because this really is the best team will always win, in my opinion, for control point. If you have the bigger brain, if you're just more calculated, if you recover quickly, if you stay composed, these are all things that you don't really need in Team Deathmatch. It's definitely more about just pick your shots, pick your fights, and that's kind of all you really need to know in TDM. Not to discredit the game mode by any means, but I feel like as you kind of open up those extra layers, we can start to see a little bit more. Now, seeing as we did just have a close game, let's take a look at the stats and see how our players actually fared up. As you can see here, it's pretty even, I have to say. Almost completely deadlocked.
It is. It's actually
that's insane.
Yeah, the general split of points, very, very simple there. Like, pretty much the same across the board for everyone. Just a marginal difference. That is only 2 points that does set the overall squad apart. And it's actually Goku that had the majority of frags as well. 13 kills. The final 2 kills at the end of the game were majorly impactful. He essentially tried to carry his team through in the last couple of seconds out of a confidence ball. It's weird it was just him as well, though. Only Goku went on a side mission on the left-hand side, pushed up, 1v2'd people, won the fights, but then died because obviously you're going to be so low at the end of that. You just physically don't have the sustain to last that long in Guns of Boom. After one firefight, you will basically die. So for him to get the second kill on his lonesome is wild. The rest of the side possibly could have backed him up a little bit better there.
Yeah, we saw somewhat of a turnaround from J-Master in that exact situation. I think that's actually why he turned around. He was looking for the long-range sniper fight because I believe there was 2 targets of both of their teams on the right-hand side by the far end of the map. And J Master with the immediate turnaround. He knew he was too weak to take the fight. He tried to go and support Magat, and not saying he was too late, but he made the call to change right as the double kill went, and sort of went down. So I think there must have been a call that says, hey, I'm sneaking up behind them. I can get them from behind. J Master tried to react, but too much damage, I think, had already been done, is what happened.
Well, everyone on the side of Yakuza was pretty low in that final fight. Like, a good majority of them didn't have armor. Don't think there was any nades left because they basically like camel dropped them in, throwing them over the try-push the side. So no real utility, no armor. It's not a good spot to be in. So Goku made the best of a bad situation, went for a baller play. Unfortunately, he was not the top dog.
Imagine miscalculating by 2 points, though. That's got to be one of those things that can definitely affect you. Composure is something we talk about at the high level of competition all the time, is when things don't go in your favor, how do you recover? That's one of those plays where you're dead set that you have the points, and then if you miscalculate it by 2, and then not only do you miscalculate it, but you actually lost the game because it caused you to die, that can actually tilt a player off the face of the earth. That can make a player feel a certain way that ruins things for the rest of the series. I think the time that's being taken now to go into our next map, sorry for the delay, by the way, guys, we'll have it ready as soon as possible, as you all know. But I think this time in between maps might even be crucial time for Yakuza, because if they put everything into trying to get that final play and they fell short by like 2 points, you need the time to recover, and forget that ever happened.
Could be frustrating for them. You never know. Obviously, that's why we might have a bit more of an extended downtime here for them to try and get themselves back on course before we carry on with this best of 5. So the good factor is, though, they have a big buffer. You're not out of the runnings just yet. We do have that veto to look over as well, so we can refresh our memory of what the following map is. So it is going to be Farming Complex next, then into Europe Square, Atrium, and then Europe Street if we need it. So in terms of the map pick, Skyscrapers was actually Yakuza's pick. They'd fall short on that. That could actually hit them a little bit mentally. Being off by 2 points on your home pick, it's never a good affair.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about just now, where I mentioned that it's the kind of loss that can stay with a team, let alone a map that they selected themselves. Now, Farming Complex, it's what I said earlier, where I think TDM is one way to start things, but it's definitely not the be-all, end-all. However, on Control Point, we'll see how things can fare instead. If Yakuza are able to win this, and then we go on to Europe Square, which is exactly the same game mode. In fact, we have 3 control points in a row, because it's Farming Complex, then Europe Square, then Atrium. Like, this was a very, very, very control point heavy selection. So if one of our 2 teams is just an entirely different beast on control point in this 3rd place playoff, I'd be kind of concerned, because the next 3 maps are all control point.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a more awkward one, obviously. Does favour Yakuza, I'd say, normally in that side of things, but LLC look good. If they can play that well and actually overcome and win in a pretty awkward round to be in like that, because it's a hard position to play for him. Guns to Boom, when you get into that last sort of 10 seconds where you know you have a point lead, we see a lot of teams make mistakes, normally even very well experienced ones. Teams that have been weathered don't know when to back off or when to engage, but it seemed pretty consistent from LLC. They had a good distance across. Obviously, the flank from Goku was huge, but they did still win it. So the confidence is going to be there. They're going to be hyped up. Getting into that follow match, though, on Farming Complex. The Farming Complex is always a bit of a weird one. It can provide some very wacky gameplay.
And also, what we were just talking about, which is how interesting the day would be, because in our 3rd place situation, we already saw a team in EU that we don't see regularly in the top 4.
Yeah.
Get 3rd place and take out one of our more consistent teams. Now, if LLC are pretty much able to do the exact same thing, it's going to be quite an interesting day across the board, because it's showing that, yes, there are favorite teams, and yes, there are best teams, but there's still opportunities for teams that we don't see as regularly still turn up to tournaments and do well and place and beat the teams that we see every single time. Kind of going back and funneling into what we talked about earlier, where if you watch a team and think, I think we could beat these guys, I think we're able to hang with them, then these teams are having an opportunity to prove it. However, it's going to be Farming Complex up next. This should indicate that we should be good to go momentarily. Once again, guys, cheers for staying with us. Sorry for the delays, but I do believe we should be ready with our next match in a few moments. Now, if Yakuza go 2-0 down here, I would be very concerned indeed, because again, to remind you all, we have 3 control point maps back-to-back coming up right now.
We are into the action here. 75 points to 30 already as we kick it off. It is a rapid lead being started by the side of Yakuza. They are dominating early on and they are building from it. The frags will start to go back in favor of LLC though, as it is close so far. Point control seems like they've got a point each. They're trying to capture now from point B as well, so LLC will have a 2-point lead.
Captured point B.
But there it is. We heard point B and echoed by another point B. I think that suggests that we're nice and even. And just like that, LLC have been able to take the lead. Wrath the Ripper, look at his score. This guy has been popping off.
Wrath the Rapper dropping sick bars across the board. 400 points now achieved for LLC. They have a constant lock on B and A point. But Phanos is trying to make a difference now. Goes for a big play, nice use of the nade as well. Drops it round, tries to get the kill on the big man himself, but Wrath is fragging him up, sprints his way in. That's a double kill, a double down, and the secure on the point.
Look at point difference, Jackie. LLC were looking so far behind at the beginning, and in typical Guns of Boom fashion, it feels. Been able to make more than a comeback, and now they're super comfortable. They're continuing to climb as they go. Wrath the Ripper continuing to be just an absolute unit in this match. Almost 200 points to his name. Single-handedly actually winning this match for LLC, it has to be said.
This is wild. Ooh.
Point A captured.
Elmo. A little bit more aggressive than what I remember him being.
That's when you hold up the stop sign. That picture of Jack Black. That's what it is.
Yeah.
This win is ours. Optimus on the killing spree. That alone, again, that alone has brought them back into the fight. I love it when these very crucial plays come through and it brings a team single-handedly into the victory. It allows them to continue to win. It shows that why having star players in this game is so important.
That's actually a lifesaver, because they're only about 50 points behind, but LLC now over 100 points behind. Yakuza do start to really rack up these frags. They're building for this. They have a constant domination of B and A point now, and actually are getting themselves into a good spot. Nox, the watermelon cat himself, sprints back over. We'll get the 1v1 versus Optimus. That's another double kill. And Yakuza seems like they should be the team to find success here on this second map of the series.
It's all about the snowball effect. If you can get one good kill and then really capitalize. J-Master unfortunately losing that 1v1 to Wrath the Ripper, and now that's actually going to be 2 points taken for the price of 1. They're able to get a little bit of dominance here. Now the climb might be enough. Nokia gets another kill, and this could be a very close game. C has gone in the favor of Yakuza, but I believe it's LLC that hold more control over the map as a whole. They're going in for the big attack in the center of the map, and whoever wins this group fight that we're about to see, I think is going to win the whole map.
Yeah, the next kills here are vital to how this one goes. They were actually capping B point. Oh, no one has it, but they're capping A now as well with the back cap play. This is pretty pivotal, but it should be Yakuza taking the series in a 1-1 fashion now and keeping it neck and neck. They want to try and keep this one going. So already the lead that was picked up by LLC has been negated.
An interesting start, and it's absolutely something that Yakuza desperately needed themselves. You know, if they were 2-0 down, we'd be worried. Again, I think it wasn't dominant enough to be conclusive. But that said, as we now have Europe Square, and then we have the Atrium after that, it's going to be a whole lot more control points where that came from. So that said, I like the way that we started off strong. It was even, and then LLC very, very quickly started to run away with it. A huge part of that was the fact that Wrath the Ripper, just even in these replays, look at his score compared to everyone else. I know Optimus was able to hang with him, and that's one of the important things actually in Guns of Boom, especially in these tournaments, is if one player on a team is having the game of their life and they're starting to play out of their mind, you really have to make sure that someone on your team is able to hang with them. Or at least, you know, your 2-star players can kind of have a little bit more of a higher ratio or whatever. Just don't let one player be a god, because that one player will actually carry a whole win.
Yeah, you've got to hang with the pack of Rough Riders. That's what it's about. Everyone needs to be able to step up to the mark.
100%. And I think that's what happens in Guns of Boom every single time. Every single time there's a team that we see in competitive, there's always kind of like one player that you'll look at and go, this person is consistently excellent. Like, you know, on the side of like Black Bulls, it's, you know, it's someone like Excellence, for example, who's always doing really well. In this kind of team here, it's the exact same kind of deal where there's a reason there's a star player. Not that they single-handedly do it, because the rest of the team will set them up for them to knock down, but it all kind of feeds into the kind of competitive engine, if you will. And it matters. It matters a lot. So we have Europe Square up next. This one is as far as all the control points go, I find Europe Squared to be a bit more traditional. I find Atrium to be a little bit more one-sided, as we can, as we generally tend to see. I do think the farming complex, I don't know why, but that always seems to be the first control point map that we see in rotations or when teams manually select them. And then we have Europe Square, which kind of just sits pretty in the middle.
Yeah. It's always very popular when we get into the best of fives, Farming Complex and Europe Square. This is where it tends to come out. I've just realized there was a swear on that bumper of that vehicle, on the license plate. Yes, there was a rude word.
I would say,
goodness.
I will say don't repeat it, but I missed it. So if we ever go back on this map, I'm going to look at it.
I'll show you that one next time, mate.
I'm going to look for it.
Outrageous. I, for one, am offended.
Just try and point it out in a subtle way, so that we don't give it away to the lovely people at home. Oh!
The enemy captured point A.
Just like that coming in.
Yeah, exactly. Yakuza, they start off strong. They have the 200 mark
B captured.
already obtained. And God, there's something so crispy about a porcupine sound effect right in my ears.
Point B is
The base
under
of the
attack.
porcupine.
It's like bam, bam. Like really, as the world's worst remake of that sound. That's not actually what the porcupine sounds like at all.
It's like,
There it is. Oh, it's like pew.
you know the memes where it's like slaps the bonnet of the porcupine. This bad boy can fit so much bass in there.
That's exactly what's going on.
But it's just an
The enemy
actual
captured
porcupine,
point
so it
C.
cuts his hand.
Spikes it. I was looking for a smarter word and I lost it, so I just dedicated
Spiked it.
to the obvious. Spiked it. He spiked it right there. Spiked him good.
Classic spike.
He got spiked as well himself, while trying to spike the other.
Point C
Yakuza are definitely
captured.
spiking ahead in
Point
terms
A
of the
is under
points,
attack.
as they do get themselves about an extra 50 over LLC. They're looking pretty good. Ooh, it is close though, Ryan. Every time it seems like they're about to edge out, LLC do bring it back.
And I think that naturally feeds into the flow of Guns of Boom. You get a good fight, you get a huge amount of points, but you've used your grenades, you've got no armor. Even if you regenerate back to full health, you're basically one Barracuda or Thanatos headshot away from being one shot anyway and undoing that work. So Thanos got a killing spree, which is wonderful actually for Yakuza USA. Optimus getting a kill as well. But as I say that, how much do they dedicate to get that spree, that one good group fight? How many resources did it cost them? As you can see, LLC, they did do well in a fight, but Migat gets a double grenade. That is so important because it's a double kill and it's a quick couple of grenade kills. It gives an underratedly high amount of points, actually, if you get a double grenade, because that's a double, that's 2 grenades as well. It's just wonderful when you combine a lot together. Yakuza having a wonderful couple of fights here. LLC, signs of life, but again, we're reaching that point where they desperately need to start pulling back, and they have to do it now. This needs to be the first of many kills they're going to need. They have quite a nice amount of stack good to go, lots of health and lots of armor. Is it going to be enough, though, Jackie?
What's interesting as well is Nox is actually actively playing with a scout rifle and trying to get the shots of it. He's the only one I've actually seen get kills with that weapon rather than just using it for speed. So not actually too bothered about switching out his weapon priority when he does get into close range fights, just really committing to it. But the kills are completely back and forth. Yakuza are peeling out ahead though. They're the ones that seems like they should pick it up, but LLC, it's neck and neck. And look at the rate they are building these points as well.
It is 1
They're going
point
to overtake.
under. It's 1 point underneath. General Aladdin gets one, but J-Master secures another. We are so close here, Jackie. This is one of the closest matches of control points I've ever seen. It's impossible to call. Yakuza, they're in the lead. They can't give up any kills. One good group fight now is going to be game over. Nokia giving his position away on the grenade, running straight into them. I don't think that was a good idea. And it's going to go down. Yakuza USA take another map. Here we go.
2-1 in terms of the scoreline now. Yakuza picking it up there over on Europe. Looking good. They have the confidence in them to close it down at this point. Obviously, you're now 1 map away. Definitely a resurgence, looking more like the side we expect to see. And that could have been the 3-0, really. When you think about it, a 2-point difference on the first map to open it. From what we've seen since then, this very easily could have been the 3-0 we predicted.
Exactly. Now, as we load in very, very quickly, I believe, into our next map, which is going to be Atrium, our 3rd and final control point map, I think this kind of is a wonderful representation of when 2 even teams collide. It's so hard to tell when someone pulls away, and up until the last possible second, where they had such even points, it was a natural climb of 1 point separating the 2 teams. Every second ticked, we'd get an increase in score, and we were still moments behind each other. Like that, it's so wonderful to see from a spectator point of view that 2 teams can play the game so evenly at a high level that even the score is like, I give up. I don't know what to do about this. They're both just too good.
Yeah, it's just accepting it at that point. And That's pretty wild. Obviously, the way we're seeing these games go now, definitely a lot closer. Setting Yakuza up for success going into what could be the final map here, unless LLC have some magic left in their sleeves. Need to be able to pull something out, a little bit unsuspected, possibly a surprise play.
Exactly. Now, we're loading into Atrium, which is the final map. Haven't seen a huge amount of Atrium today, but when we have seen it, it's been a very unpredictable display. And I think kind of almost, if we're going to kind of keep that tradition, then who knows, maybe we're going to see it again. But we did see what was basically a 2.5-minute map previously. It was Knights of Honor that just...
That was really quick, yeah.
You literally snap your fingers and the map was over. It was one of the absolute fastest maps I think I've ever seen in competitive Guns of Boom. And normally on control points, that's not... The control points isn't a kind of set of maps that gives you those fast games. It's almost like a set pace all the time because it's always 1 versus 2 points, or maybe they're trying to get a bit of dominance, the fights happen, it's like a natural flow, you know what you're expecting. And then Atrium came along earlier today and just threw all that out the window. I don't know what to make of it.
And that was just from the pure early game start I think they had as well, because it was such a big lead. It's just so hard to come back from it.
Yeah, the Black Bulls, I believe, had tried to split off 2 people and try and take 2 points, and they both lost the fight, which gave them both a point, and then they took the third point in the middle. And the game was over the second that point was captured. Like, it was a ugly loss. And by all means, that was well earned. But as we go into Atrium, this has scope to be a very one-sided control point map. If you have a bad start on here, then you're in deep trouble.
The enemy captured point
Well, we
B.
are into the action. J-Master with the opening frag will annihilate Elmo as Sesame Street gets a little bit more explosive.
Things have changed in 2018.
Point B captured.
Double kill as well. Elmo actually going to be stepping it back up with support of Wrath the Ripper. General Aladdin going to come into effect on Optimus. The point game definitely favoring LLC right now. They are more spread out. They've got map control. They're looking to try and push this to the 5th and final map, if possible, to take the series 2-2.
Point A captured.
Well, there are plenty of work where that came from because this map has only just begun. That said, LLC, they have a nice little respectable lead. And Yakuza, somewhat struggling. They're actually half down in points right now. We have a lot of work to do if they're going to have a hope of taking this one back and giving us a 3-1 victory. Elmo tries to get one of those preemptive grenades, but as long as the steady climb continues, we've seen this one before. And now Nokia gets a really impressive kill as well. Can he win the 1 versus 1? Now he's taken enough damage. I feel like J-Master should be able to just collect here. There it is. Gets the kill. But at what cost? It's taking these players of Yakuza a long time to kill the LLC players, which is wasting a lot of time. It's allowing their allies to respawn. It's allowing them to sit there without a point being taken to keep a natural lead. And again, we're almost at 700 points LLC. Like, this match has only just begun. At high level, Atrium is one of the fastest maps in the business. It has to be.
Yeah, it's rapid. Favoring the underdog team here as well. LLC definitely going to try and take the series 2-2 now. Push it to the final match, as they are just soaring ahead. A 400-point lead, showing no signs of slowing down. Thanos going to go for the back cap to try and regain control of C. They do have A site right now, but this is going to be an awkward fight. The 2-on-1, they come out on top. LLC, it's just a matter of time. They are just soaring through.
And I feel like we're reaching that point of no return already, because you don't have to factor in the points that are left. You factor in the points the other team doesn't have. Like Yakuza, they're super far behind. And the natural climb of points means that even if LLC just sat there and did nothing, they would still win this game right now. That's going to be 2-2, and we're going to be going to the Europe Streets, a map that we said we wanted to see. And my prediction was that we're not going to see it because we never get the maps we want to see. But unfortunately, my prediction just got blown out of the window because LLC took this map and we are immediately back in at it. And I believe it's going to be a TDM to finish things off. So one unpredictable set of maps we just saw right there.
Very, very bizarre. Obviously shaped up for what should possibly favor Yakuza. The fact they don't 3-0 it might have come back to bite them in the bottom as they do struggle there on Atrium. I'm going to push it to the last map in the series. And honestly, what do you think about that as the final map here to try and shape this one up? Because this is, it's interesting, right, Ryan? I mean, it's the first time we've seen new teams actually do anything in the league.
I feel like we're super used to, in the GO4s, seeing a very traditional story and a very similar situation. It's always dominant wins. It tends to be 2-0s, tends to be 3-0s, maybe a 3-1 if we're feeling, if we're feeling frisky in the day, maybe we'll get a 3-1 win. But very rarely do we ever go down to a map 5, and we've had our fair share of map 5s today. I think that shows growth in the scene. It shows there is room for more than one top dog in either part of the world. And right now, going down into our 5th and final map, Personally, I'm just happy to see that we've reached this stage because we are so used to dominant performances. It's nice to see that there are teams now that are becoming a little bit more evenly matched in this level of competition.
Yeah, it's good. It's shaping up for actually a more viable competitive scene, right? We're getting better games. The teams themselves will need to improve off the back of that. It stops sort of stagnation. We need newer teams to be playing the game, or else the active player pool is just going to stagnate. You can only really play against what you've seen in the past. There's no way to improve. It's going to be the same players each time. So always going to be more effective. We're seeing that come in today. If this is another team that out of nowhere steps up to the mark and takes a third place, that's pretty good.
It's one of those cases where I think I'm happy to be wrong, because my prediction was a Yakuza 3-0 because of, again, I'm making that mistake, right? I'm going by past results and I'm going by past cups. But if we're seeing teams that we don't see on the regular, at least on stream, I'm well prepared to see that these teams probably compete during the weekly cups. But on the stream, it tends to be not so much. Now, if my prediction is a team's going to just dominate another team because of previous results, and that result doesn't happen because there's a team we don't get to see that often really bringing it to the team I thought was going to win, I'm always going to be more than happy to see that result because growth is the most important thing. When a game is new, when a game is up and coming, Guns of Boom, it's a new competitive title. Now, a lot of the people that I'm sure you guys are watching, maybe some of you guys haven't been familiar with tournaments before. You don't really know about tournaments for games in general. Maybe Guns of Boom is your introduction to the wonderful world of esports. This kind of stuff is so healthy for the game, and what's also healthy for the game is healthy numbers. If you guys at home want to get involved, you can go to our link down at the bottom, esl.im/boom sign up. This works for both Europe and North America. So with these free to enter online cups, if you play the game and you actively enjoy it, sign up for these cups, get some friends together, jump in. Who knows, maybe you'll earn some money, maybe we'll see you in Los Angeles. It's entirely possible.
Yeah, it's very true. You never know how these things are going to go down, so you might as well get involved, right? Obviously, providing well, still in its infancy right now in terms of the scene. We're getting there, just coming up to that Season 1 finals, and I think that is really going to be where we start to see a bit of a pinnacle of Guns of Boom forming. Obviously, seeing which teams are actually good on land. We got a bit of a taster with the EU Invitational, but I think this is going to be the real juicy one, the slobber knocker of a finals.
I mean, above all else is the fact that it's $120,000. That's the big one. It's just how much money there is to play for.
Yeah.
We don't see new games come about and have loads of money to play for very regularly. So if you're a Guns of Boom player, now's a good time because you've got the GO4 Cups, you have weekly tournaments, you have bi-weekly opportunities to make money, and if you can make it to the Season 1 finals, you have a shot at both being sent to LA, which is one thing many players have never experienced before, is the American culture, which is very different to everything else you're probably used to, right? Especially in esports. And then, of course, the chance to play for ridiculous money, $120,000. Yes, please. But it's time for our final map, the decider, to find out which of our team is going to take third place and be the first team to take home some cash. That's the thing. These teams are playing they're playing their hearts out, and it's for third place. So who knows how our grand finals is going to play out.
Yeah, it's very true. And that team that takes third will be walking away with some money. But as you just said, everything is bigger in America, and that's why that 120k prize pool is definitely going to be moistening everyone's palate, getting them ready and licking their lips for some action. But we dive back in. We're getting a Goku, going to go for the full flank. Has no idea
wait, what?
About what's actually gone on there. Hasn't realized there was a man.
How did he miss? What?
He was too tall.
Well, he got him in the end.
Yeah, he's taken him down. He didn't see him on top of the van. He doesn't have the vertical height.
I genuinely... I don't think he was in scope, though, because he was running at full speed. I don't know how that happened.
I think he just didn't look up.
Maybe.
He's got a small neck.
That was a blunder right there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make a big deal about it, but my God, that was a blunder.
Basically, he's like the anti-giraffe. So he just has a really stubby neck, so it's hard to look up.
Poor dude. Poor one out. Here comes the slow-paced game. American players have never been shy of going down to a slow style if need be, and that's why Europe's street is so interesting. It's team deathmatch, but it's of a slightly slower pace than you would otherwise be used to. Alright, it's going to be a 1-for-1. Even scores, and because we're in team deathmatch, this is what we expect. It's always back and forth in team deathmatch. It comes down to the final moments. And Wrath should be able to pick up this kill if he's aware of who's behind him. They've definitely called him out. These guys, I'm sure they're in comms. They've just said, hey, he's up there on top by the balcony. He's got a sniper rifle. Again, unaware of the two people that are right behind him again. And I feel like part of that is because when you go in scope, you almost tunnel vision, don't you? Many players unaware of their surroundings when they're scoped in.
It's the fact that this one's actually quite close as well. Yakuza barely a couple of points ahead in terms of the overall lead, and that's just from the additional body count they've had from the frags that have been found. Elmo gets a bit more bloodthirsty. Going to start to fight back. Slays Goku in the Battle of the Brands.
Nokia takes down Optimus. and another Battle of the Brands, Jackie. I couldn't say that with a straight face.
Keep it going. It's a running theme in the Guns of Boom crossover universe.
It always is. I feel like a lot of people are fans of other products, and that's where the names come from in Guns of Boom.
Other products are available, of course.
Optimus takes out Elmo.
To be fair, that would be a fight.
That would be a fight I'd pay to see. I probably wouldn't pay for it, but I'd watch it.
It's the next Michael Bay movie for Transformers, don't I?
Again, we're just all the leagues here in the GO4 Cup.
Yeah, we're getting them out there. Now this is more classic as well. This is vintage deathmatch right here, where it is just the constant trades, the back and forth, especially on this map. It's so open, so as soon as you finish that first firefight, you're then left staggered. That's when the next team then kills you, then they're staggered, then you kill them. It's just very, very clean cut back and forth. This map doesn't allow for a lot of interesting stuff until the last sort of 45 seconds of the map, really.
Exactly, or the final 100 points, which is... It's like there's two ending conditions. You know, we're 1.5 minutes in, and we're not really near the end in terms of point score. You know, most maps, if a TDM is going to go down to timeout, it's generally going to be Europe Street if you play slow, and if you don't go too aggressive. You know, right now, it could be very easy for one of these players and any of these two teams to get too aggressive, maybe get frustrated, maybe start making some mistakes, maybe trying to force the hand a little bit, and they're not content playing the slow pace you have to play to compete on this map. LLC, they've taken the lead, but only by 3. And now it's been slightly increased. Thanos gets 1. Unfortunately, going into the wrong side of town. 3 people lying in wait. Wrath the Ripper gets a knife kill, the extra bonus of points. Very important indeed. And now the question is, timeout or point out? What do you reckon, Jackie?
Well, this is the thing. We're into the 45-second mark now. This is where you're pretty close to 500 points. They're really near it, and they're hitting the shots, so looking good to try and actually close it down before the time limit. LLC are the ones to attempt to do so. The response is good from Yakuza, but there's only 30 seconds remaining. They need to be a dominant force if they want to lock this down. This is the final map, so everything relies on this one, and Elmo is punishing. He is a sniper with a hell of a scope, taking out a cop or two. As he starts to punish him, carries on as well. Optimus is done for. LLC looking to close this down and win the series.
J-Master is in a horrendous position. Elmo finished things off with a killing spree, gets 4 kills back-to-back, unreturned. And that is going to allow LLC to come about and defeat Yakuza USA. I was expecting to see Yakuza USA do a little bit better. And to be honest with you, I'm just glad to see that another team has come about and again proven they can get top 3. We saw that in Europe and we saw it in North America today. Impressive stuff across the board. And that was a hard-fought series, ending things on a timeout, really testing the mettle of those two teams through and through.
Yeah, that was a slow one. We see a lot of slogs on that map. It is always slow because the angles are just so open. So there is just constant fights. You have no downtime to try and get a health regen off or just even take 5 and reset. It's just constant aggression. Ended there in a flurry of frags found by Elmo on the nightmare in Sesame Street. And that's what we needed to see, right? One big step up towards the end when you have that many points with 15 seconds left. There isn't much you can do. But it does mean LLC will win it. And that is big. That means both of the 2 upset teams, the newcomers that we haven't really seen, LLC and over in Europe, Overtake, winning their respected 3rd place deciders.
As we can see in the replays, it was Elmo that in fact got the first blood and the last blood. It was pretty much the immediate capital letter and then the full stop on the end of that map. And Elmo can feel really good about that one. We're kind of like the backbone in the final moments. And that was a hard-fought match. It was a long one. We were here for a fair while, but finally we have our 3rd place team, LLC. Congratulations for being the first team to take some money after this tournament, and hopefully we can see you in future cups. I have no doubt we will. We'll see you do well. So that means we have one final series left to go, our grand finals between Hyped Up and V. Will Hyped Up remain the undisputed greatest team in North America, or will V pull off an upset and take a win on stream? We'll find out in a few moments. See you in a few minutes after our short break. everybody, and welcome back. My name is Ketchup, and I'm joined by Jackie, as always. I don't know why, I've worked with you a bunch already, and for some reason, my brain, for like 3 seconds, completely forgot what your name was. I'm so sorry, but it's Jackie, 100%, with a capital J at the beginning. I know now, don't worry about it. That never happened. I want to just like cut and just redo that take. This is the ESL Guns of Boom GO4 finals for this month, and it's going to be our North American bracket with our final series of the day to get through. It's going to be the grand finals between Hyped Up and V. I am interested to see how this one goes, purely because I think we definitely kind of have the two top teams in the region at this point. The question's going to be, is the predictable result of Hyped Up going to be the way we end the stream, or is V on stream going to say, nah, screw that, and take the win? I don't know. What do you reckon?
It'd be interesting, right? Because obviously from the weeklies, we've seen now out of the 10 cups that have been played, 6 of them were wins for Hyped Up. They had 2 where they came third and then 2 where they came second. So they've been looking pretty good throughout the majority of their games. We're getting into the finals now where we have only ever seen them win. So it would be a huge upset if they actually were able to break that streak in the finals that we do. There's potential, right? V are definitely an effective team. We've seen them look better and better. They're going from strength to strength, but Hyped Up are just the Goliath right now. Do they have a weakened heel? Do they have some kind of trick that we can see possibly take them down that we haven't seen come out yet? What's their kryptonite? That's what we need to find out and see if V can secretly show us that.
I feel like we're just entirely yet to see it as well. But whenever you watch V and Hyped Up go back and forth, this is a matchup that it's not going to be new to either of our two teams either. You know, this is a matchup that they play all the time, you know, almost every single week, if you will, because of how regularly they compete. Our map rotation for our final best of 5 of the day is going to be Europe Street, Farming Complex, Skyscrapers, Wild West. And if it comes to that point, Paradise Island. The thing is, V versus Hyped Up, whenever we watch Hyped Up compete, it always seems to be like a 3-1 if it's going to be close.
Yeah.
If it's going to be a close result, it's a 3-1. And that's kind of it. I feel like we almost never see a map 5 with Hyped Up involved. And to me, this is why I feel like, you know, prediction-wise, I do think it's going to be Hyped Up. I think it's going to be no more than a 3-1. V tend to put a little chink in the armor. You know, they can sometimes make them bleed their own blood a little bit, but it's never enough to take home the win. And if things change today, who knows? It's been a little bit of an unpredictable result. We saw, you know, 2 third placings actually today in Europe and North America that we weren't expecting to see, overtaken LLC. So if there's a day for unpredictability, maybe it is today. And maybe this is the time Hyped Up don't take a final. I know they've not won every single tournament in North America, but every time they've been on stream and they've been playing here where there's commentary, you guys at home are watching it, this is where Hyped Up have a 100% win rate.
Yeah, and that is the bigger picture, right? That's the main thing. The monthly GO4s that we see coming out is where the teams need to actually strut their stuff, really. This is where you can set a bit of a precedent for yourself, get some limelight on you, and show that pizzazz. Also helps, obviously, with the direct invite spots. Try and be able to show what you can bring to the table, a little bit of flair, a little bit of upset potential. You never know who Game Insider might find and want to bring on point for that.
That's the thing. When you're in this situation where you can be a underdog team and just pull off an upset and really show your stuff to the world, it's a great way to put yourself in the public eye. But that said, we've had an immediate beginning. It's going to be an early lead from V. It's not much of a lead. It can be swiftly undone. And as I say, that Hyped Up on the verge of tying the knot a little bit. Only 2 points behind. And the classic matchup. The 2 strongest teams in North America, they're going head to head. And I really want to see if this is the time that V take the win.
Ooh, headshot from Jen, but a response from Snow. Stark as well, shutting down Corrupt. User is able to overpower, not a team player. So Hyped Up already starting to build themselves a small lead over V in this map. And we have just witnessed the full force of this map just moments ago. It always is incredibly back and forth. It provides a lot for just constant firefights. Venom slain in close range combat, stabbed from not a team player as well. This is what I'm talking about. One team will win the initial fight and then the reset comes out from the other side. It is just a constant flip-flop.
Here we go, the classic beginnings. This is such a North American map too. Here's the Europe streets. They really love this back and forth, the long range battles, and then so many ambush points, especially near the spawns. You kind of have to hang around on the bottom half. If you are going to be within their base, you have to be at the bottom half because obviously the respawn points are at the top of the map. So respawning, having invincibility, jumping all the way down, very hard to do all that and maintain your respawn protection. comes the range for another time. We can see this slow-paced gameplay, 2 points behind. I think we're going to see a classic TDM, Jackie. I think it's going to be slow and steady. I think it's going to be even. But I think in the final moments, we're going to see the pivotal team plays come through.
Yeah, it's looking like it. The frags are just going back and forth. User going to get the advantage over Gen there, as we'll be able to get that shot off. Gentrix and not a team player are the only real people trying to stay alive right now as the response comes back in. It's 216 to 190. A follow-up frag from Stark. Found the cheeky little angle there on Gentrix. Slays him. 30 points is all that sets these two teams apart.
I love that reactionary play from Stark, being stuck in the scope. He actually normally realized, I think he might have been absolutely guaranteed dead there, but the reactions to quick switch, equip the Porcupine, go for the melee kill, such a fast combo that you've got to have quick reactions to do it without dying yourself, especially when you've been ambushed by a Porcupine to boot.
This little alleyway here always provides for some very aggressive fights. And the trades actually do go favor in a V there towards the end, as Corrupt was able to get the follow-up kill, takes down Stark. It's 330 to 271, and it's looking very, very close. Very reminiscent of what we saw in the past. This is one of those maps where it does go the entire game.
I think there is quite a dominant lead here for Hyped Up, actually. We were talking about how we were going to see things go back and forth, and again, as I've said that, we started to see V make elements of a comeback. So it always feels like that commentator's curse in Guns of Boom is so obnoxiously real. Corrupt. He's going for the sniper battle, doesn't want to peek too much. Does not realize this is a 3 versus 1. Stark gets a headshot. And now Hyped Up are in a wonderful position. Not a team player. And I think the name is right. Just running face first into 3 people. There was no way not a team player knew there were 3 people around that corner. Uh-oh, respawn protection. Look out, Venom, get out of there.
We better run, trying to reposition himself. Oh Lord, he comes. He finds that kill, not a team player. Gem with the adjustment as well, back on Venom. Hyped Up, very close to locking this down now. They do have a big point lead, and it should be them hitting that 500 mark first, but there's a response. V, not out of the game just yet. If no players on the side of Hyped Up do actually give away kills, though, they should lock it down.
They just need one more. Stark finishes the job with his blade. How fitting. Hyped Up take map number 1. And just like that, they started things off in a fashion that I think we've seen once or twice, Jackie.
Yeah. It's definitely more reminiscent of what we've seen in the past. Hyped Up, looking good. That map does always lend to the longer games. We expect it to go very, very close to the mark. So them winning in a later fashion isn't that surprising at all. That's more reminiscent of what we expect on a TDM map. In terms of where this goes from here, looking like Hyped Up are on the ball, though. So you'd imagine this is probably going to be them either like, what, a 3-1 or a 3-0 scoreline. I reckon it's going to be pretty one-sided.
Again, my prediction was basically a 3-0, and if there was going to be a game that goes in V's favor, I genuinely foresee no more than a 3-1, because I don't know. I don't want to speak too soon, but it's entirely based around what we see on stream. When the time comes to play, and the extra pressure comes through, you know, when you play in the weekly cups, obviously they're not really streamed, they're not broadcast. They happen, of course, but they're not broadcasted anywhere. No one's watching them. Yeah. No one's commentating their games. You're not like in this position where you know that if you make a mistake or if you make a bad choice, everyone's going to see it online. It's the kind of thing that can really play on a player's mind, and it's an extra element to being a competitive player that is hard to describe. You only really know how it feels to play on stream and in a stressful environment unless you've done it yourself. But the only way to do it yourself as a Guns of Boom player is to actually make top 4. So even to be in this position where you're in a game and you know it's being broadcast to everyone and the whole community is watching, you have to get that far in bracket first.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort to get there. It's by no means easy, and obviously that's why we do only sort of see the top players making it every time. We're finally starting to see new players creep in, but it's a hard-fought fight to make it to those semi-finals.
Now, speaking of which, we have our next map pretty much ready. We'll be in there in a few minutes. But the thing is, when we talk about tournament stress, for me, it's something that, especially with a new game and a new community, it's great to see how players actually kind of rise to that challenge. And I think that's why Hyped Up currently are the strongest team in this region. Plus, I think there's a reason that even if they've not won every cup, they have won every tournament when it's streamed and when it's a GO4 finals. Because there's this extra element of having to be prepared as a team and to be a sick player and to just ignore pressure and stress and play your best regardless of whether the cameras are rolling or not. Yeah. This is all really good experience as we go into the Season 1 finals. But I feel like Is this why the storyline of the Black Bulls versus Hyped Up is becoming oh so prominent? Because it's a team that have been able to win big under extreme circumstances offline versus a team that have no issue at all playing in the stress of a tournament online. I don't know. I think that's where we're going to finally see Hyped Up get tested.
That's the dream though, right? Like, it's coming towards LA. We have it so they're both seeded on opposite sides of the bracket, and we potentially see those two meeting in the grand final as the big game. That'd be huge. But we are in grand finals, Hyped Up, one map up already in the best of 5 here versus V. It's 107 to 145 already, as V have got themselves a nice bit of an early lead. This match has 2 very close points in A and B. They're so close together that it provides for a lot of early aggression for the team that does hold them.
That said, we can talk until the end of the earth about the early lead that V have been able to establish, but I feel like with the likes of Hyped Up, an early lead can only mean so much because, again, we can see a lot of amazing plays come through Gentrix. Look at the point difference. There's always this one player that is just kicking ass, and right now it's going to be Gentrix, but so much more points than basically everyone else in the server at the moment.
Ooh, it's a whiff as well from Gentrix as he does push back around, tried to get the backstab but overwhelmed, didn't know which target to prioritize. Luckily, Corrupt was able to win in the 1v1 versus Stark. They haven't jumped on the A site yet. It's taken Gen for the win to make the call for them to actually realize they should lock this down, deny that constant flow of points. But when they do trade it, it's still going to be 2 points in favor of Hyped Up. That's why they are now almost in the lead. They have consistently held 2 points for about the past minute.
The thing is, they're holding the points, but they're not winning the fight. So it's the interesting back and forth of the points that are actually going in V's favor is because they're just doing better in the fragging. But at the same time, Hyped Up are playing as the better team. And because they have more points, look at how close they are to now evening things up. Off a horrific start, too. And I think that's showing why Hyped Up are so dangerous. Corrupt gets the 1v1. Very clutch to pull that one off. Not a team player swapping to the scout rifle. Look at the speed! Look at him go! So fast! That's why you can pick weapons for speed purposes, not even to do damage. Just the ability to go coast to coast, basically. Super impressive optimization of items.
He's one speedy boy. Gen on the site goes down, though. And look how close this is. 774 to 755 there. Hyped Up, barely in the lead as they are slowly peeling out ahead. That B site is going to be the main point, though. This is where the true fights are now going to go down. User overpowers. Venom comes through as well. Stark will kill Corrupt, slays him after he gets that critical kill on Venom. Hyped Up still have 2 points to only 1 of V's. That is going to give them the additional points to actually tear ahead here as they will hit the 1K mark first.
Now the 1K mark, this is the critical point, and it's finally been reached. We have 200 points left to go for Hyped Up. B, they're only just behind, but now they need to start making the big plays for another time. They have to get the points, which is easier said than done. They don't have a lot of time to do it either. I think the fight towards B is going to be pivotal. Gentrix gets a double kill. If B can secure B here, this might be their moment to make a comeback. But Hyped Up, it's starting to trickle. Snow gets 2, getting a double kill clean, and a headshot to give an extra burst of points. V, they can win, but they need something right now. I don't even know if it's going to be enough. One more kill, I think. And it's likely to be it.
Yeah.
Corrupt runs face first into the team, and he's going to fool Hyped Up, taking the second map on the verge of a 3-0.
And now it's looking like it will be that fabled 3-0 for Hyped Up, really. Already 2 maps picked up, 100-point difference there on that one on Farming Complex, and it's looking like it's just a little bit too far gone now, really. They're winning on the Tug of Strength, the old win for Hyped Up.
They are, and at the same time, they're winning off what is, in both of those maps, actually a rough start. They didn't get an amazing start either. They were able to just stay super composed as a team. The big thing was they were holding control over the map more. They were losing the fights, but they were taking the points. And ultimately, in control points, that's what matters the most. I mean, look at the replays. Look how much blue is taken on the map. Even when they finally manage to take these points, it's never enough. But every single time there's a replay, and it's even, look at how much more points Hyped Up actually hold.
Yeah, Hyped Up definitely always ahead in terms of the individual score lines. They were just very, very effective. There we have it. That is going to be the second win for them. Obviously, they only need one more now to make it a smooth 3-0, lock down the series in the best of 5 and be your champions. Once again, that would be the undefeated streak still carrying on. You've got to wonder at what point will they be beaten?
The question's going to be, can a team in North America take it to them? And by all means, maybe they will here. We saw this in Europe, Knights of Honor versus Black Bulls. Black Bulls took the 2 maps back-to-back at the beginning on the verge of a 3-0, and then Knights of Honor reverse 3-0'd. This exact day on this very broadcast, mere hours ago, they did what essentially feels like an impossible feat against the best teams in their respective regions. And Knights of Honor were able to pull it off. So can V do it? Absolutely. They could definitely pull this off. They just need to play the best Guns of Boom of their lives. They need to make minimal mistakes. Because the thing about Guns of Boom as well is that you can punish mistakes royally. Like the degree of which you can punish a team for making bad choices. Because one bad decision is a team wipe. A team wipe in Team Deathmatch is map presence. You can establish angles. You can make it hard on their spawn. In King of the Hill, it's the point capture, and then it's angles. In Control Point, it's maybe 1 or 2 points that you have to concede, and then you have to start working for it again. So, you know, it's a hard thing to do in this level of competition to make no mistakes. Least of all mistakes that you can get punished with a map loss.
Yeah, it's true. It's, you know, it's one of those where really you are going to make mistakes in this game as well, because it's a lot of rapid on-the-fly decision making. Also, the time to kill is so incredibly fast that it is a lot of just, right, we need to trade this, get back in. It's a lot of aggressive gameplay, very much in the moment sort of head rush style. So you need to know what's going on, be clued in, and some of it does come down to that extra little bit of luck as well in the decision making you're going to go for. Sometimes you bite off a little bit more than you can chew. It is all very, very situational. But we are in for what could very possibly be our last map of the broadcast for the night here, Catch Up, if we do see a victory go in favor of Hyped Up. And what a way to end it. This map is always where it seems to be our closing book, our bookend for the series.
This is where the real soldiers fight in the skyscrapers, the battle in the sky, and it's going to be our final map right here. Look how much time, we're almost 30 seconds down, and actually nothing has happened because the teams have been this careful.
Well, that's the first confrontation for you. That nade going to be peeling armor back. Or just being hit in the head. Header in those grenades off.
On the head nade. Stark again going in with the rifle for the increased movement speed. Snow spilling the first blood and now Hyped Up. I'd say they're in the lead, but 29 versus 27, not so much. Undone a little bit, 59 now. Hyped Up have the lead they need. But just like that, 2 kills from not a team player, the double kill. Rewarded because of the extra burst of points that bonus kills can grant you.
Oh, nice nade from User.
Wonderful.
Long arm span on that one. Big arms.
Dentrix gets ambushed a little bit, but he can return enough damage that forces User to retreat. That's now going to pop one of the health items. And remember, they're in a limited supply as you have a life in this game. You can't just infinitely spam them like you know, you would think maybe you can, but no, definitely can't.
Stark getting tagged up, tries to just hide and stay alive. The backstab from Gentrix, given a free kill on Snow there, and a bit of a butcher play as well. The trade comes back into effect. Now, Hyped Up are in the lead, but not by much at all right now, as V start to dominate. They switch things up. They get themselves to 155 to the 130 of Hyped Up, as V are looking good.
It's an important turn of momentum they definitely needed here. Snow, looks like there's the verge of a 1v1 to happen, but V are so content just setting up shop in the center of this map. You kind of run the risk of sniper fire though, especially grenade spam inside. A little bit of cover that you can almost react to, but sometimes it's not enough. They're grouping together for another time. Hyped Up significantly far behind here. Not anything that can be undone, of course, but we'll see.
Venom on the close angle. Everyone grouping up, just going for the nade spam. They're all going to try play together here. The only downside to that is if they drop a nade on them, they're all going to be in close proximity. It'll do so much splash damage. When they do eventually push out as well, it is just a major collection of frags for V. One after another, they blow everyone down, Hyped Up. And they are majorly in the lead here.
Not a team player trying to go in for the sideways flanks, but I feel like Hyped Up were just ready and waiting, and now they get a good kill of their own. Corrupt gets a killing spree though. But Corrupt going down, I believe, should give a combo breaker for the added bonus as well. Not too far behind or Hyped Up. This is definitely something that can be recovered from. But again, as they're getting these kills, they actually haven't given up a lot of armor. That's the impressive thing. Wow, Snow just got deleted.
Bit of an awkward kill comes through. Jen with a follow-up frag as well, taking down Venom. Hyped Up, they're struggling. They want to win this one in a 3-0 fashion. They need to bring it back right here, right now. 1 minute 44 on the clock. It's 355 to 243. V, once they reach that 400 point, that is going to be where they just excel and start to rack up the points so easily. The collection of frags going back in favor of Hyped Up right now brings them to 300, but is it enough?
I don't think so, personally. I think they're being really aggressive. but they're definitely being way too aggressive. That is the problem. They're running into some super obvious grenade throws. They're not able to dodge them, obviously, because they are so close range. Corrupt and Gentrix combined, melting Stark down. Corrupt was not watching out for the rest of the team up and behind him. But the thing is, with 55 points left to go, V, this should be their win, and we should be in a 3-1 situation.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be done, right? 3-2-4 to 4-4-5. There's no real way. This should be V actually closing it out here as the frags are coming back through. Just a matter of time before they close this one out. 1 kill to go, and V will get their first map win in this best of 5 of the grand final, which means they are going to keep us going. There is still more to come here.
It's important that they were able to secure that one. It's all about showing that they can, in this situation when they're moments away from being defeated, pull off the win is hard to do, especially against the likes of Hyped Up, who, as I've said before, the strongest team in the region because of their results, their qualification points. They are almost completely just guaranteed for making the LA finals at this stage because of just how much points they have and how much points they continue to have because of the weekly cups they're able to win. So if you're V and you've now been able to take a win and it's, hey, we now have a map on the board, you know what? This is what happened to Knights of Honor. They were 2 maps down in very dominant fashion, and they reversed 3-0'd. And that first map made us go, well, is this going to be the catalyst? Is this going to be their entry to the comeback? And we weren't really that sold, weren't really that sure. After the second map they took, we were like, okay, well, maybe we have a real match on our hands. And then after that final 5th map, going in the favor of Knights of Honor, we were like, okay, we're here. This was the big win, and it's not impossible. You almost see these one-sided maps go down. You almost wonder if a comeback in Guns of Boom, because of like the nature of the game, is a comeback too hard to obtain at a high level because of how much damage weapons do, how costly deaths can be in this game as well. Is a comeback in that fashion even possible at this level of play? And we've been proven today multiple times, yes, it is. So
it is, yeah.
Maybe now we see it.
Maybe there's more to come, more interesting things as this one goes on. But at least this final is shaping up for some more action. Obviously, isn't closed out in the 3-0 for Hyped Up. Hyped Up, what have they got left? Have they got energy to bring this back? Obviously, I mean, they're a team that generally wants to just lock it down pretty quickly, right? They don't dilly-dally. They're not known for shenanigans. They keep it quite clean cut. So still potential for them to bring this one back, get it in a 3-1, and still wrap it up.
It's one of those things where you look at a team that they're so used to dominant wins. I'm not saying how do they manage on the back foot, because Hyped Up have lost matches in tournament before, especially on stream, and they've been able to recover. My question is, if they're so used to dominant wins, and they're in a position where they're on the verge of being reverse 3-0'd, are they so used to winning constantly that the idea of having a massive gargantuan comeback made against them, is that something they've had to recover from? Have they been in that position before? Is a team that is feeling much momentum against you and just going ham and winning, is that something they've ever had to defend against before? Who knows? Maybe this is the first time.
That is true. Where does it play into it? We're going to find out. As now we get to witness firsthand, just getting back into the action here, Wild West Saloon, who is going to be walking home with their hat and their 6-shooter, who's going to be left in the dirt. As we're into the action, Venom with the first kill takes down Gentrix. There is a response rapidly from not a team player. Corrupt as well, starting to give them something to work with, but it doesn't matter. They're finding the frags, but the point lead is already majorly in the hands of Hyped Up. 136 to 83, as they eventually will be able to reclaim the A point.
And now Hyped Up have been able to respawn. They've been able to get a little bit more of their stack. They have health, they have armor, they have damage on board. That said, V did a massive chunk of damage right there. They've been able to even things out. They haven't got the lead, but it is allowing this back and forth to take place. Hyped Up had a wonderful start, but you wonder how much resources they put into place. Is that what's allowed V to climb back here and now start to rack up the kills as well? Gen going in, just mowing down Snow, and now it's hard to call. Gentrix ambushes Stark. Venom drops Gen, but is dropped by Corrupt as well. This immense back and forth. These two teams are definitely evenly matched today.
Ooh, the nade from Stark going to kill Gentrix. 280 to 335. V, they want to get themselves a second map here, and they are doing everything in their power to set it up so it goes that way, but the kills go back in favor of Hyped Up. They've got the point control as well. They can secure that. The nade spam goes out, but then they realize there's a player in the elevated angle. The overconfidence could be their biggest downfall as they are going down, and the site is being reclaimed by V.
It's so easy to tunnel vision in this game mode. The second you feel like you've taken the point, you think you have control over their spawns. You're aiming towards their spawns already. Snow with the triple kill. That was so clutch to put them all back and force their respawn at a set time. Now they can start to hold these angles. Snow, a bit of a risky angle. No one actually taking the bait. They're running straight down the middle, so he's putting all those resources into trying to go for the ambush. They actually haven't gone where he thought they were going to go.
He can backstab now, though. It just depends if he's actually going to be effective. He will. Gets that kill. That's a killing spree as well, so the point injection from that is going to be sick. But they all start to go down. Corrupt and Gen, kill a piece. Venom with the follow-up kill, trading it back. They're going to be slaying, though, as Yuzo deal with Gen. And it is now a 2-3-6, 2-7 scoreline, 2-3-6. I don't know how this one's going, as it's so close. It's going to be frazzling everyone.
Well, just like that, that immense back and forth has led to a much closer game, and now completely even on points. Not going to be so much now, the point is not going in their favor, but Hyped Up have been able to take the reins for another time in a row. They need this. They need this map. This is, again, match point for Hyped Up. If they win this map, they are the champions of yet another GO4 finals. But V really making them sweat for it.
Yeah, it's not an easy win for either team. But V keeping it close. Every time it seems as if Hyped Up have got it back in their favor, it starts to peel back over for V. And the damage is coming in. It's 742 to 760. As the point control is going to be in hot contestation, trying to see who can actually overpower. But the kills are coming back in. Gen will punish. Gentrix deals with Venom. And it's getting awkward now.
Now the grenade exploded on Stark, but actually looked like it was an ally's grenade, so no damage done. Forces the explosion regardless. Stark, unfortunately, just, again, wrong place, wrong time, looking in the wrong direction, zigging when he should have zagged, and all that good stuff. But Hyped Up, they have what resembles a lead, but with the point going in the favor of V again, it's hard to call. They've taken the lead. This is first to 1,000, guys. We are so close to this being over. Hyped Up, they need a good group fight, and they need the point, otherwise they're not winning. Venom dying might be the beginning of the end here. Snow gets one, but I don't think it's enough. Gen gets one kill. They need a little bit more. They need to take the point right now and also not die. That's a hard feat. Snow has no armor. This is a hard situation. They need long-range kills, and they're so weak. Oh my god, they take the win at the last minute, and it's Hyped Up who are going to be yet another GO4 finals champions.
Wow, Hyped Up saving their bacon there. A huge play in the last few seconds of that round, direly needed, but they stepped up when they needed to and annihilated. Big retake, got control of the point, had that little tick, was able to deny the income for the other side. No one dying, just picking up frags. Major play.
And it was that moment at the last minute as well where there were two members. I think it might even have been Snow and Stark. It was two members of Hyped Up on the point where they were both pretty much a grenade away, just a body shot from a sniper rifle. They had like the smallest pillar possible as their cover, and they had to like just huddle behind it, like please don't shoot me, please don't hit me. And it was all they needed. They just wasted enough time that allowed one kill to go through. Very impressive display of survival right at the end. It could have been 2-2. That was almost an exact mirror of what we saw in our European finals today.
Yeah, but instead we do have it wrapped up. That is Hyped Up being your champions. Again, classic really, right? When have we not had to say that and announce that Hyped Up have won it? It's always them looking like the dominant force.
I want to say that I feel like we're only going to see Hyped Up be properly tested in tournament when the Season 1 finals takes place and they have to face off against the European and CIS competition. It feels like Hyped Up are the absolute, they are the lords of North America. They rule this region with an iron fist when it comes to these GO4 finals. They have the highest amount of points. They win the highest amount of tournaments. And I believe they've won the most money as well. Like, it just all feeds into itself. But to be honest, after what we saw today, I don't think it's completely impossible to see them lose before then. V showed a high amount of skill today, and they've been able to show that they can hang. They can definitely hang with Hyped Up. This is not like a one-man band over in this part of the world. They can definitely compete as well. But saying that, we have got the bracket to show you guys what the journey has been for our teams. 2-0s all around up until our third place playoff, which was really close, and then the grand finals, which could have easily have been a 3-2 as well if it wasn't for Hyped Up's high display of clutch on that final map.
Yeah, stepped it up majorly in the last few seconds like they needed to. Hyped up, going to be able to secure the scoreline in a 3-1. Could have easily gone to the to fifth map there, really. It seemed like it was going that way, but they saved the day. And Hyped up looking dominant. If they can carry on like this, then they really are just 100% securing that spot at LA. I think without a doubt now they've achieved that. But just confirming there is no way that they will not be walking into that event as the #1 seed for NA.
Exactly. And also at the same time, it's one of those things of can they maintain their consistent win rate going into the Season 1 finals? Are they going to be the undefeated team of North America when it comes to the finals? Which, bear in mind, they are separate cups. You know, Hyped up, they've tasted defeat before, just not on stream.
Yeah.
Not when the highest amount of stress is actually here. So, for one final time, congratulations to Hyped up for winning this tournament. And congratulations to Jug Knights of Honor for taking the win in Europe as well. This is going to conclude our ESL Guns of Boom GO4 finals for this 2 weeks, and we'll be seeing you guys in 2 weeks' time for the next one. My name is Ketchup, and I've been joined by Jackie. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you at the next tournament.